Babes Reading Books Book Club.
I think we nailed that one.
Oh.
What's up, book nerds? The babes are back in town for the Babes Reading Book Club, episode 7.
Heck yeah.
I'm Roxanne.
I'm Vic.
I'm Nadia.
And together, we're the babes. With you. We're all babes together, reading books. Welcome back. Hopefully you've checked out all our 6 previous episodes because we're back for month 7, July, baby, and it's Roxanne's pick of the month. Before we forget, make sure to subscribe, keep up with us, leave some comments down below what books you want to see, what you agreed or disagreed with us on, and check out our other videos and podcasts.
Heck yeah.
Without further ado, let's get into it. So this month's pick was Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This is I saw it on TikTok, that's why I chose it.
Big
And then
huge
so it was on TikTok, but I chose it because it was Colleen Hoover because Nadia's pick of the month was Verity a while back. And I really liked her writing, so I was really excited to pick this book. So the book goes, or the synopsis goes, it's not exactly love at first sight for Tate Collins when she meets the tormented and secretive Miles Archer. They wouldn't even go so far as to consider themselves friends. The only thing Tate and Miles have in common is a mutual physical attraction that can't be denied. Once their desires are out in the open, they realize they might have stumbled on the perfect no-strings arrangement. He isn't looking for love, and she doesn't have time for it. So that leaves just the sex. What they've
No spoilers.
could be surprisingly satisfying. As long as Tate can stick to the 2 rules Miles has for her. Never ask about the past, don't expect a future. They think they can handle it, but everything is different when real emotions start to change the equation. Hearts get infiltrated, promises get broken, rules shattered, and love gets ugly.
Hearts get infiltrated.
I forgot this is the book that does like the weird poem writings.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Okay, so I guess before we begin and talk about the actual contents of the book, we're going to give our ratings. We're going to start with Nadia, move on to Victory, and end with my pick.
I don't know my rating.
Okay,
I have to
fine.
think about
Victory,
it.
you
I'll
know?
go for. I know.
Okay.
Guys, this book's getting a 1 out of 5. And that's me being generous, okay? It's strictly getting a 1 out of 5 for the plot twist about the kid. Didn't see that coming. Or how he died. That's about it. That's what the 1's for.
Oh, I thought that was why it got
Oh,
a
no,
1.
that's why I got a 1 and not a 0.
Oh, okay.
And
Got
for,
it.
what's his name, Chap?
Yeah. Cap.
Cap.
Oh, okay.
Cap.
He's a cutie.
He was, guys, this book, holy smokes, awful. I hated everything about it. There was no likable characters. First of all, I could not stand with Tate and Miles with my life. I hated both of them. So much so. And they're just so unlikable and so stupid and wasting each other's time. I hate both of them so much. I think they're both horrible people. And I think that they're both extremely toxic for each other. But the main reason I hate this book is because, you know, to get the rap that I only read like the historical fiction stuff and the mysteries and stuff. I don't mind romance books. I don't mind that at all. I can read through spice. I don't mind it. What I hated about this book, there was no plot. There was no point to it. There was nothing. I was reading like, what is the point of this book? You know, with Verity, same kind of, you know, style. There was something else going on. There was a plot. There was a point to reading. There was no point to reading. I read through the book and I was like, what was the point? There was no story. Guys, there was literally no story.
Do you want me to read the synopsis again?
Hearts are infiltrated. Love gets ugly.
Rules are broken.
Guys, there was no plot. That's why I just felt like I was reading it, and I read it all in one sitting on a plane. And I just was like, what's the point? So that's I really did not like it.
Nadia?
Okay, I liked it. I agree. No plot. I agree. They were shitty for
Yeah, we're good.
for most of the book. However, I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I would even stretch it to a 4 because I love this shit. Why, you might ask? I just like it. It's fun to read. It's easy to read. I breezed through it. Was I like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever read? No. Did I enjoy almost every page? Yes. Sorry, okay? I'm a simple girl. I love romance. This had romance. Did I cry at this book? Yes, I did cry. Did I get mad at my boyfriend for not comforting me when I cried? Yes, I did. It was great. It was a great experience. Yeah. Is it shallow? Yes. The plot twist about the son? Good. Didn't see it coming. Made me sad. I think that was the intention. I think it did everything it needed to do and everything she was trying to do to me, and that worked. So that's me.
So
Here
funny.
you go.
Thanks. It's actually a funny story. I also give it a 1. Unfortunately, don't get me wrong. The only reason it gets a 1, not for the plot twist. It wasn't that big of a plot twist.
Yeah.
I saw right through it. I literally call it out, but not the exact thing, but something similar to that. But I really like her writing.
Mm-hmm.
I liked everything. I felt like it did feel like I was experiencing this. But again, the plot, I left that and I was like, it didn't even feel that romancy. It just felt like it felt like she was just making what's her name, Tate, so stupid, because it's like their whole agreement was like just sex, nothing else, and then Tate's just like fawning over him the whole time, and I'm like, but he just kept saying like just sex, like all this stuff, whatever, and then I hated the brother.
The friends.
What else? Oh, the friend. Yeah, the creepy man that was married. Disgusting. I didn't even want to know his name. Dylan. I didn't really find them all together to be that cute. Like, there's no big reason for it. I saw the whole Rachel thing mildly from a mile away. Like I kind of saw it coming. So I knew there was some sort of death via accident that was horrible. And then later when I found out that she was pregnant, of course I was like, oh, it's the kid. Yeah, I don't really remember, like, it's not memorable, and I felt like there wasn't that much romance as much as there was just, like, smut, I guess, as they call it, and I was like...
That's true.
Like, kind of, like, I just felt like it was, like, page and page after, like, smut, where I was like, I feel like they could have amped up the romance, because I do like romance more.
Yeah.
But I felt like... Excuse me, it's not COVID, just tonsillitis. Too much smut.
That's how I felt, too, because... I was like, okay, romance. I'm expecting it. There was nothing. It was just the same thing after the same thing after the same thing, like every single chapter. And I was like, okay, when's it gonna change? When's something gonna happen? And then the only time something happened was like the last 4 chapters.
Yeah, and then I didn't like how they made like Tate the sucker. Yeah. And I was like, why does she have to be such a big old sucker? Like, like she could have definitely been smarter about it. I don't believe someone would be such a sucker.
That's what I didn't get.
Unless what's his name again?
Miles.
Miles is a major hottie. Then I can see it.
I think he is.
Maybe.
That's it.
Then maybe.
Yeah.
Then maybe. But yeah, I love the writing. But again, that's why I was like, with Verity, there I felt like there was something more. Mm-hmm. And even with that, like, it felt like it was more of a build-up. But versus this, it was just kind of like, they had their agreement, and like they're sleeping together. And I was like, okay. And then also, if this man's grabbing my ankle as I'm trying to come into the house, murder would ensue.
I know.
It would be the murder on the Orient Express. So,
but like it was so weird when the brother was like that let him sleep in the apartment with her. Like that's like a stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was like,
and then he claims to be so protective over his sister.
I was
You're
like,
putting
you
her in
never
danger.
do that.
Yeah. So that's why I give it a 1, simply because the writing was really, like, I would read more of Colleen Hoover's stuff.
Yes.
Because she is such a good writer. Okay, so let's get into the gist of it. So I actually wrote out the main things that happened chapter by chapter, and part of why I think I became so attentive to the fact that there was nothing happening was the fact that I was trying to write chapter reviews. I think around chapter 7, I'm just like, they slept together. That was just, I really had nothing going on. I also did my classic Roxanne rewrites the book. It would have been, okay, well,
that's the end segment.
We'll do it in the end. But yeah, so we'll go just slowly chapter by chapter, just a bit. But anyway, so there's, I'd say 3 main characters that we need to know. So number 1 is Tate, and it's written in Tate's perspective, right? Tate Collins is her name.
It switches because then it goes to his past life.
So Tate's writing in present, and then it switches to Miles mostly in the past.
6 years ago.
6 years ago. So that's where we sit. And then Corbin is Tate's brother, and Corbin is Miles's friend. Okay? So we start in the present, So Tate, she's coming from wherever the heck, and she's moving in with her brother. Randomly, she comes in, and like there's a drunk man at her brother's door, but she has to get into the apartment. So like she goes in, and like as she's going in, he like grabs her ankle, and like I genuinely would have simply murdered him. Like, sorry, there's no dancing around the fact that I probably would have actually thrown a fit and crushed his hand. She crushed it with the door. I would have stomped on it, you know, did a little dancey dance on it. And then turns out she's on the phone with her brother. Turns out it's her brother's friend, and she needs to let him stay in his apartment. Which, don't know why that would happen, because it's like, first of all, it's super unsafe for your sister. Super unsafe for anyone in general. Yeah. Also super unsafe for him, because he's a drunk, and now this person has to take care of you. What if she doesn't take care of him, you know? But yeah, and then, so plot twist, so she finds him crying, or she at one point finds him crying, and he's like, I'm so sorry, Rachel. I'm so sorry, Rachel. We don't know who Rachel is at this point. I predicted she killed her in some sort of accident. There was an accident of sorts. Who knows? Chapter 2. So now we go into Miles's perspective, and it starts where he's meeting Rachel. So we find out that Rachel is his high school sweetheart, that they met in school, she was a new student, and he has to show her around. But what I really actually liked was how, so she started by writing the chapter, like everything pressed to the left, like how a regular book is written. And then like as he falls in love with her, like the words kind of come into the center, and it's written in center. I liked how that...
I did not notice that at all. I didn't notice that either.
Oh, really?
I thought it was just in the center all the time.
I just thought, like, I was like, why is it printed like this?
So he starts like this. Oh. So it starts like this, and then he's like, and then he, Rachel, and then it goes into the center.
That was just
to show that, like, she's his universe.
After that.
And then at the end, it goes back.
Oh my god!
In love with
That's
her.
crazy!
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right? To show, like, that she's, like, the center of the world. She's the center of the world.
I liked it because it was fast. I was like, nice.
Only one word
just getting through.
So just...
I wrote that to myself.
You mean the world? Really?
No.
Oh, Josh? Oh, that's cute. That's weird that he said that to me, though. His girlfriend's right there. I'm kidding. This is Nigel's book. Josh is Nigel's book. Right, guys, we're kidding. We're kidding.
He left a note for Roxanne.
You might be flipping through the book.
He knew. But right in front of me. Oh my god.
But yeah, so he falls in love with her, and just, like, it's cute, but it was so funny. So it was like, I almost cried laughing at the part about him smelling her. So apparently he was like showing her around, and he ends up smelling her or something, and I actually was like, I thought I was gonna throw up because of how hard I was laughing. But then also, mildly I started getting the hints of like the way he was like talking. I get he was supposed to be in love with her, but I couldn't unhear like him being Joe from You, just mildly. So I was like,
oh my god, Rachel.
Literally.
Rachel.
I want to, let me read it. She's mine, but I don't say anything. I don't have to, because the only one who needs to be aware that I want Rachel is Rachel. Like, you know, like he was saying Rachel, and if it was replaceable by the word you, and then it would have been the show.
Yeah,
so that was funny. So they meet, so we find out that Rachel's his high school sweetheart, and then we dive back into the present, back to Tate. So chapter 3 says the morning after Miles and Tate meet. So they meet for real. They're awake, and like Miles, I think, is like, he's just like staring at her in the doorway. Big old creep time. Big old creep time. No thank you. Again, Murder in the Orient Express.
Also, and then I have a note for chapter 3.
Yeah.
In chapter 3, right off the bat, they're already fighting like they've known each other for 20 years, and I was just so thrown off by that.
That's the thing. The way they were like talking to one another, I was like, literally, you guys don't know each other. You would have some sort of shyness, but okay, you know. Ooh, chapter 4 is when some spice happens, but like not like spice, like smut spice. Just like we start discovering like saucy details. So it turns out that Miles' mom passed away. That's what we find out in the book. She passed away, I think, like a year prior to that time period. And the dad is dating someone new. And he's bringing over the new girlfriend and her daughter. And lo and behold, it's Rachel,
Rachel.
baby.
Oh,
Saw that coming from a mile
Mhm.
away. The minute he was like,
No.
oh, the girlfriend's coming by, I was like, it's gonna be Rachel.
They're
It
gonna be
was.
step siblings.
So that's what happened. And then I was like, I hate the falling in love with the step sibling trope. I hate the falling in love with the step sibling trope. I think it is super messed up because I consider you guys to be. I guess in this case it's a little messy because they met
before,
outside of step sibling trope, step siblingness, whatever. But we're dancing a little too close to the border, you know. This opens up the question for, oh well, if you never really knew. I like to stay away from it, but.
Do you remember the show for all my Canadians out there, Life with Derek?
Yeah.
That was falling in love with the step sibling trope.
Exactly,
Also.
literally. The Fosters.
The Fosters.
So many shows. Even there was there was, I think it was Degrassi. I think they also did it. So many places do the step sibling trope. But anyway, so they find out and he's like crushed. Miles is like, what do I do? And then we move into the present. So they were all over, and then they were all like over at Collins's place, which is Tate's brother's place. But then Tate has to study. But Colin wasn't even there, and they were gonna watch the game there.
That's so
weird.
I would be like, nope.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, I don't care.
Like, sorry. But then for some reason, what's his face? Miles is like, you could study at my place. Why don't you guys just like not watch the game for once?
Yeah. Or what is it? Is it 2000 and 2000? Like, why don't they stream it on their phone or their laptop? Why do they need his TV? Like,
Yeah.
does this take place in 1982?
It
Like,
might,
is there no technology?
clearly.
There's a TV.
Might.
Why can't you? Do they not have internet?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, why did they have to watch it when the brother's gone? And then and then she goes to his apartment and cleans his dishes. That's
Yo,
I
was
didn't know that
filled
too,
with
and I was like,
rage.
why are you cleaning his dishes?
That's also
Strange.
weird. Like,
Why
you're
are you
just
there first of
uncomfortable.
all, but then why are you taking initiative in cleaning his dishes? That's so weird.
But I'm just like, why do you feel comfortable enough to
Yeah.
start washing his dishes? What if he meant them to be there?
Why are you comfortable enough going in a stranger's apartment?
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
guys, just don't
that's-
watch the game. So then later, who was the three guys? So there was
Dylan, Ian, Miles.
Dylan, Ian, and Miles. So Miles and Ian were high school buddies.
Yes.
And then Dylan was, because they were all pilots, so they all kind of hung out in the same apartment, whatever. And then I think Dylan was also just a pilot, but he's married and he was hitting on Tate earlier, so he's kind of he's a snob. Not a snob, he's a gross...
Scumbag.
Scumbag, that's the word. So he's a little bit of a scumbag. So the three of them, without Colin, were going over to Colin's place. So weird. Like, just pack it up. And then we go back in time. So Miles and Rachel don't put their relationship on hold. And then they actually end up kissing. So they find out that they like each other, whatever, like they were gonna go out, and they end up kissing because they're like, well, whatever, like I think they were like making a plan. They were like, oh, we're gonna be out of here in 2 years anyways, like, you know, even if they get married, like whatever, it's not a big deal. So they keep going ahead. And then they find out that the dad, Miles' dad, cheated on his mom. So his mom was sick, and she died like a year ago, and then turns out that Rachel's mom and Miles' dad were dating for just over a year. So they're like, so Miles is like raging and mildly hates his dad. Oh yeah, this is weird. So we go to present. And for some reason, Tate and Corbin go home for Thanksgiving, and Miles comes with them. Not knowing the family, and I'm just like, okay, like, why didn't, like, teach their own. Like, I think it's a cute sentiment, you know, you don't want someone to be alone for Thanksgiving or whatever. But I'm like, especially the part where later he does have a family, I find it mildly confusing. So I'm like, but whatever. So they go to San Diego for Thanksgiving to see the parents. And then they're in the car, and Tate is driving the back, and she puts her feet out on the armrest, which, first of all, despicable, and then Miles grabs her foot. Disgusting. Oh, it made me feel ill. Ugh. Disgusting. So he like
hates
grabs her
feet.
foot. Yeah, I hate
This
feet
is like
so
a detail I
much.
totally forgot.
Same.
So gross. But yeah, so he's like, so she's like kind of like she's like flirting him
They're
up.
looking at each other in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was driving.
They're kind of
right?
looking each other up and down, you know, like they're like, what's going on? So, and then so they're being a little flirty, and like she's pretty sure she's catching Miles being flirty back or whatever, because she's like obsessed with him at this point. Which, like, whatever, I guess if he's a smoke show, more power to her. We're at Thanksgiving, and Miles somehow cuts his hand. I don't remember how.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
So he cuts his hand. Oh, and lo and behold, Tate's little nurse
Crazy.
just so happens to be okay, and she's like, we have to get you to the hospital for stitches. And he's like, no, I don't want to ruin Thanksgiving. She's like, you need stitches. And he's like, no, I don't want to ruin Thanksgiving. Just do it to me here. Like,
Maybe it is 19.
Maybe it is 1982, where it's like going to the hospital, you're going to catch something worse. Versus here, you're just going to get infected. So she ends up stitching him. And then as she's stitching him up, they kiss. But then he has like a total freak out. He's like, disgusting. He's disgusting with himself.
Twilight vibes. Like Edward, like really, he can't stand her, but he's so attracted to Bella.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was thinking about too. But yeah, and then they're like making out or whatever, and like it's getting hot and heavy, and then the dad walks in. I was like, I was perishing. Oh, and then in chapter 10, so this is Miles and Rachel. So they end up putting rules in for their relationship. And then I said I hate the rules. Didn't list what they were.
Oh, I can find them. First, no making out when they're home. It's too risky.
Fair.
Second,
Fair.
no sex.
Fair.
Those are the rules.
Fair. Okay.
Not ever. Ever. Never. Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Oh, rule number 3. No, there is no rule number 3. Okay,
Oh.
sorry.
Okay. So just those 2 rules. So that's for Rachel and Miles. And then we go forward. What did I say? I hate the rules. Oh, I hate the concept of the rules. Like, I just found that so strange, where I was like, what are you guys doing? You guys are
Maybe
a mess.
just don't.
Yeah. You know? And then chapter 11, I literally wrote, nothing special, they just drive home. But then I'm pretty sure he kisses her or something, right? Like, they go to the bathroom.
Oh,
Probably.
yeah, in the bathroom they do at the gas station or something.
Yeah. So they like kiss. So, but like, again, nothing special. And then now chapter 12. So things are kind of like, so I like the way that she did this, like the parallels, like she kind of did, things are like heating up between Miles and Tate, but like things are like already heated with Rachel and Miles. So chapter 12, so they go back in time. Miles tells Rachel he loves her.
Damn.
And then again, I couldn't stop reading his inner thoughts as Joe from You. So it's, you know, it's happening. Present time, Miles and Tate sleep together for the first time. Because they set their rules, right?
Yeah.
Don't ask about the past.
And then don't expect a future
Future.
or something like that. So that's their 2 rules.
Wow, what a dream. This guy must have, like, looked out of this world. Like, what else is there about him?
Well, victory! I don't pass the back. Pass the back to the book. She doesn't have time for love.
Then why is she wasting the whole book with this person? When she's in love with this guy.
Hearts get influenced. Promises get broken. Rules get shattered. Love gets ugly. Oh, and then a big thing, for some reason, is that Corbin is like super protective over Tate, which is like so stupid because it's like, you're her brother, like relax, like you're not some great person. And then like it's like he sleeps around too, so I'm like, it's so, that pissed me off, where I was like, I don't get why we needed to add that dimension into it. But then like they're also keeping a secret from Corbin, which I'm like, that's also a douche move on both of them, where I'm like, I get that Corbin shouldn't be upset, but then just rip the band-aid off and say something, because it's like, that was also stupid, where I'm like, why are you guys sneaking around? Like, you're literally adults. Like,
it's not even anything serious.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
Literally. So I'm like, it's so stupid. It was just adding like that level of like them trying to hide it, but I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. Corbin can't know, so then it's kind of like, oh, is it just the excitement that like that's why they're both sleeping together? And then Miles and Rachel like, oh, are their parents gonna find out? Whatever. So when Tate was first in Miles's apartment, she notices that like it's unfurnished and like it kind of barely looks like he lived there, but he had like lived there for like years. For some reason, he's like, you want to pick out curtains together? Which on his end, dirty move, because it's like, okay, I get that she's more obsessed with you than you are. So like that was a dirty move on his end.
No.
But I'm like, girl, clearly this man is feeling more than just, he's not following his own rules. Because who's asking someone to pick out curtains? Also, it's like, what, like, pick out curtains, what, you can't pick out curtains yourself, bro? Also, would blinds kill you? And then I was like, this feels like a violation of the rules. 100%. It's got to be 100% violation of the rules.
Yeah.
So that was dirty on his end. And then chapter 16, it said, plot twist, Rachel might be pregnant. Yeah, so they announced that Rachel is late and she's crying. She cries to Miles and she's like, I might be pregnant. We go back into present time. Turns out Miles made captain. So he's a pilot or whatever, and then he got like a promotion or whatever. So they all go out to celebrate. Then it was Corbin, Ian, Miles, and Tate all went out to celebrate or whatever. And then like they're playing like footsie under the table the whole time, or like being coy and like kind of like they want to go spend their own time together and like sleep together or whatever away from the group. So then they all go out to celebrate, and then I was like, their whole situation screams problem. Yeah. Because then Corbin and I think Ian kind of picked up on something, which is like validates your BFF. I would sure hope so. So what happens, like there's the four of them, and then Corbin and Ian go out, like to a bar, whatever, to go hook up with people. And then Tate and Miles go back to their rooms because they're so tired. But they really just go and sleep together. But like, so they sleep together again, but Tate is like falling for Miles. Like she's like literally obsessed with him and like in love with him and stuff. And they go back in time. Confirmed, Rachel's pregger. She's a pregger woman. And then they're trying to make a plan that's going to work. Which any high school pregnancy, I feel like is hard enough. And then now you haven't even told your parents you're together. And then now you have to explain that you're pregnant. It's a big old mess. Again, they're just, so the next chapter, I think what happens is Dylan like hits on Tate. And then Miles like loses his marbles. And then like Corbin's like, oh, I can't believe Dylan, my friend, would make a move on my sister. That is despicable. So like Miles and Tate are like sitting there and they're like, yeah, that's like the worst thing you could do. Meanwhile, they're literally hiding it from Corbin. So Miles is a big old, what's it called? Hypocrite. Because also he got like jealous that Dylan was hitting on her. So stupid. Yeah, and then we go back in time. They're picking baby names. They make a big plan that like they'll move out together. They'll find like on residence living, Rachel and Miles. Oh my gosh, this is so confusing. Hold on. So then chapter 21, they break up. Oh yeah, Miles and Tate.
Yeah.
So like Tate's kind of like, yeah, like I want more. Like you clearly want more too. Like we're more than just smooshing booties. But she wants more, and he's like, no, so I can't give you more. So then they break up. And then flash back, Rachel and Miles break the news to the parents. The dad like freaks out, which I'm kind of confused about because it's like, this is your son's child. It was just a big old mess where I was like, they were all upset. Like both parents were upset, but the dad like is like really mean to Miles, like kind of kicks him out. Just pretty messed up, but like whatever. And then the next chapter, one of Tate's study buddies was a guy, and he like came over, and then Miles was like, he was like jealous, so he comes over, and then she's like, you can't even be jealous, and then like they sleep together, and then Corbin walks in. Dun, dun, dun. And Corbin finds out, and he like flips out. He's like so mad. He's so mad, and he's like he finds it unacceptable and is kind of like, get out. Like, I don't want to see you, to Miles. So then Miles and Corbin are in a tiff. Tate and Miles are kind of back on, ? And then Corbin and Tate, I guess, are kind of fine. Because he's like not like that mad at her. He's more mad at Miles. So, which is weird. Flashback. The child is born. They name him Clayton. It's the name choice was cute because it was for the teacher that they both had in common. It's pretty cute, whatever. And then like everyone comes to visit him, and like the dad kind of comes around, whatever. And then I said, I think they get in an accident. So I called it. There's a fear. So like since they're pilots, that one of the airplanes in that airline crashes. And they're all trying to like call each other and find out who it was, and it wasn't anyone that they knew. And then we also discovered that Miles does still talk to his dad, because like there's no mention of any family, because obviously, well, we found out that the mom died, but we don't really know what happened with his dad. But turns out that he still talks to his dad because he has to call him, and he's like, yeah, I'm still alive, blah 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 blah.
Also, side note, I was reading this on a plane.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I was like,
I didn't think about that.
fun.
Skip.
I was like, okay.
Everyone's fine.
Yeah.
so there's also this old man. So I forgot to mention Cap. So he's like the doorman of the building, and he like kind of bonds with Tate, and like Tate goes to him with like his boy problems, which is kind of weird, but whatever. Teach their own. She goes to Cap with his boy problems, and like he's like kind of beefing with Miles, or like Miles isn't like the nicest to Cap, or like they don't get along really. And then I was like, his beef with Miles is interesting, like there's something else going on. And then there was later, turns out. And then we find out later, the dad wasn't cheating. Miles' dad was not cheating on his mom. They just split up secretly, and then so they split up. So like when he started dating the woman, it was when Miles thought they were still together, but they weren't. They just didn't tell Miles. And then I said, I hate how short these chapters are and how little we get from each one, which you could tell from the synopsis, which the freaking review, because it's like literally it felt like the chapters were like snip 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 snip, you know. Present day, Miles and Tate, I think they slept together, and then Miles, like, I think he was just like really disrespectful to her after, and then she was like, she just like had enough. So she was like, she like ripped him a new one, and she like went in on him, and then he just like shattered. Like he was in shambles. I said, it is true though that their agreement was nowhere near what both of them were serving. 100%. So like she was just kind of calling him out. Like he kept kind of saying like, oh, like there's no future, but he was doing like, again, picking out the curtains and like a whole bunch of other stuff throughout the book. And then she just like rips into him for that, and then he's like, oh, and then he becomes a blubbering mess, essentially. Okay, so now we have the ultimate flashback to so Miles and Rachel bring Clayton home. Unfortunately, they drive off of the edge of a bridge, and there's a struggle ensues. So Rachel's sitting in the back with Clayton, the baby, and Miles comes to save them, and like Miles was gonna save Rachel, but she was like, no, save Clayton. But like he kind of thought that if he helps Rachel, then like they can both help Clayton. But then unfortunately he helped Rachel, not Clayton. Clayton dies, and like Rachel just like loses it. Obviously Miles loses it because they just lost their child. So we discovered that's like the big thing that kind of happened in his past. And then the next chapter in present, they mend fences, but then when they're like sleeping together, he says Rachel instead of Tate. I was like,
So bad.
that was so bad. Like that was brutal. So obviously like Tate flips out on him, and she's like, I'm done. Kind of like she was like, that's it. Like that's the last straw. And then the next chapter is Rachel leaving Miles. She says that like she just can't love him anymore. Like she was in a lot of pain and like emotional pain and stuff. And she just kind of said like, I don't think I can forgive you because like you didn't save him, right? Like she kind of said like, you should have known that I wouldn't want to be saved if it meant that Clayton dies. So Rachel leaves Miles. So the parallel is Miles has been left by both of his women. And then Tate decides to move because she was only temporarily staying with Corbin. She finds a place, she's planning on moving out, and she goes to say bye, but like Miles is like very like cold shoulder. He isn't giving her anything to work with. So she's like kind of like, okay, I am like finally done with him, because it's like I'm literally leaving and he doesn't even care, you know? And then now we jump back into Miles' perspective, but it's present tense. So because Ian ends up knocking some sense into him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ian knocks some sense into him, and he's kind of like, you love her, like, why are you acting this way, like, blah, 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 and, like, kind of being like, you're kind of useless if you don't, like, pursue her, and kind of, like, it sucks what happened with your past with Rachel, because Ian's the only one who knows what happened. He's like, it sucks what happened with Rachel and Clayton, but, like, you have to forgive yourself, like, you have to move on. So Miles ends up seeing Rachel in her current life, and she's married, and she just gave birth to a girl, and like they have like this long emotional thing where it's kind of like you need to forgive yourself, like, you know, like what happened sucks, but like you kind of still have to live your life, like you're alive, you know, Clayton's not, you gotta live your life, like you can't be afraid, blah 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 blah. And then Miles comes to his senses, and then he comes and like seeks Tate out again and explains it all to her, and then they live happily ever after, and then they end up getting married and having a kid together and naming him Sam.
Girl named Sam after Cap.
Yeah.
That was cute.
Yeah, and then turns out, yeah, Cap and Miles were BFFs. Like, they've known each other their whole lives because Cap, man, like, he knew him for some reason. From his dad's properties and stuff, which is true. And then, yeah, so they named him Sam after Cap. And then, oh my gosh. At one point he says, so Miles says to Tate, I didn't fall in love with you, Tate. I flew. And I was like, literally made me mad. It ruined the book. Like, I can't.
And they repeat it later, too.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was the whole book.
God, I hate it.
Lots more spice and smut, but that's the gist of it.
The thing I hated the most of it, I hated that there was no plot the whole book.
Yeah.
The second thing I hated the most, I hated both characters so much. Like, they were both so stupid. They made Tate like the stupidest person on earth that I just didn't make sense. I'm like, clearly you love this guy. He's not giving you what you want. Why are you staying with him constantly? And like they broke up multiple times. They argued multiple times, and I'm just like, why are you keep running back? Like, you know he's not giving you what you want. You know you're not gonna get it. Why are you like trying so hard? It just really pissed me off. And then on his side, I also hated him because he was totally leading her on. It was totally like
Victory, he couldn't process his emotions.
He was also in love with her.
Yeah,
that's
he just
garbage.
Didn't know it.
But like, I just can't stand that. The fact that he was like such definitive in his rules. Mm-hmm. But he's not stupid. He knows that she's obsessed with him, and he keeps doing like all these little things to like keep like
but he
leading her on, and then gaslights her, being like, "Oh, you're the crazy obsessed one. I already told you the rules."
Yeah.
They're both so toxic for each other, and I just hate that. I hate them together. I hate them individually. I just hated it all. Like, it just pissed me off. Like, I'm like, you're both wasting each other's time.
For me,
but they didn't. But then it's like still like, how can you build a relationship when it's on toxicity? Like,
where's the back of the book? Hearts get infiltrated. Promises get broken. Rules get shattered. Love gets aggravated.
You're right.
Didn't you read the back of the book?
That I agree with you. However, this book is probably very relatable for a lot of people. Like, this happens all the time. And, like, I agree it's stupid and, like, you shouldn't do these things. But, like, people do them literally all the time. So I think that's why it's probably so popular. Because it's, like, probably very relatable for people. But
for me, just the twist seems so predictable. Do you know what would have been better? Instead of him killing the child and then her being alive, it would have been even better if the baby killed Rachel. Like she was giving birth, and then complications, and they both died, and so he's left with both. Like, both.
Is that your rewritten book?
Yeah, that's my rewritten.
I don't know, when you said that, I just pictured the little baby holding a knife and like it was stabbing out Rachel.
I also pictured a baby killing. Literally physically.
But yeah, so like for me, it just felt like I saw the twist. Like, I knew something along those lines was gonna happen.
Good.
It wasn't that good. It didn't feel like we were leading up to much. Like, it felt like it was all kind of exposed. That's why, and I was like, are we gonna get to it? Like, and I knew they were gonna end up together in the end. Like, there was no doubt about that.
Same.
I feel like there's just like so much unnecessary pain. We could have ended this so much better sooner, you know? But I guess if you say that, like, so many people go through it, then I could see that
I do think
more.
it's a relatable book. But, like, that doesn't take away from what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, what you're saying is so true.
Yeah.
What you're saying is true.
But just for a book. But for a book wise, I was like...
It was just very flat. Like, it kind of just feel like someone's life just, like, written out.
Yeah.
But I did think the writing was good still. Like, I think I like the way she writes.
If that's what it's supposed to be, then she did a good job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I'll give that to her, but... I just didn't like it.
But you didn't feel the hearts getting infiltrated?
No.
The rules getting broken?
Yeah, did you feel the...
Clearly not.
The rules getting shattered?
No.
Did you feel the love getting ugly?
Oh, I did.
Love got ugly.
Got ugly real quick.
But it's all right, everyone. So far we have the lowest rating with 2 1s for
Damn.
Ugly Love. But who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe for my next pick, I'm going to pick another Colleen Hoover book because
You
I'm
are?
a fan of her writing.
Oh, jeez.
So,
We're really
I don't
reading
know
the whole
which
memoir.
one. Do you want to do the It Ends With Us?
Sure.
Okay. Sounds good.
Soon.
But that's
tuned.
after Victory's pick of the month
Yeah.
and then Nadia's. But speaking of Victory's pick,
Guys, we're switching it up completely.
we might get a new low.
Yeah, we might. Meet Your Baker by Ellie Alexander. Guys, we're finally diving into my niche market of books, baking mysteries. Guys, I don't know. One day I saw a book on Indigo called The Peppermint Mocha Murder Mystery, and I was like, that's so stupid, let me buy it. Bought it, holy smokes. Corny, easy to read, but so good. So I read that series. Then I'm like, let me looking it up, and then because I bought that, I got recommended a bake shop mystery. And guys, this is a whole, like, there's like a whole community of bake shop, like not just the bake shop mystery is like the series name, but of like baking mysteries. Because there's plenty of series. Like I read 3 so far, 3 different series, and they're all like 14 books long. There's 15 in this, guys. So if you like it, you're set.
Was this the first one?
Yeah, this is the first one. But there's so many, and there's like so many series I haven't tapped into. But basically, it's a mystery novel, but it just takes place, like the main character is a baker, and she works at a baker/chef and works at a bakery. And that's the premise of them. So
Okay.
it's just, they just work at a bakery, and there's some kind of mystery involved in it. But holy smokes, they're so good. I've already read this book because I wasn't going to risk it with a new series because I risked it with Design and I, and that didn't really turn out too good. So I was like, I'm going to take one I love, and I love this series so much. So I'm hoping you guys like it and enjoy it. It's such an easy read. It's not that good. No, it's really good. Guys, I give these 5 stars every time. But let me read the back. Welcome to Tort, a friendly, small-town family bake shop where the treats are so good that sometimes it's criminal. After graduating from culinary school, Juliet Capshaw returns to her quaint hometown of Ashland, Oregon to heal a broken heart and help her mom at the family bakery. The Oregon Shakespeare Festival is bringing lots of tourists looking for some crumpets to go with their heroic couplets. But when one of Tort's customers turns up dead, there's much ado about murder. The victim is Nancy Hudson, the festival's newest board member. A modern Lady Macbeth, Nancy has given more than a few actors and artists enough reasons to kill her, but still, the silver lining, Jules' high school sweetheart, Thomas, is the investigator of the case. His flirtations are delicious as ever, and Jules can't help but to have her cake and eat it too. Oh,
Romance.
You made fun of Nadia's
that's, I'm saying I read romance too.
You gave that a what?
Yeah, no, you're gonna fall in love. But will she have just desserts? Her murder might be bad for business, but love is the sweetest treat of all. Guys, they're so good, okay? Don't knock it till you try it. And the thing with this one, though, I hope you like the first one, because as the series goes on, you learn more about the characters. And I love the character development. I'm a sucker for good character development, and I just love reading them because I love the characters so much. And as the series goes on, they grow. And it's just so nice to see. Like, I'm at book 14 or whatever, and like, it's great. Only getting better. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
I'm excited for
I think you'll really like it.
I like the
don't
mystery.
know.
Why is it so cheesy?
It is. I told you, it's cheesy.
But you make fun
But
of
it's
all the Christmas movies I watch.
Well, those are just blad.
Those are just
And guys,
bad.
there's little recipes at the back of what she
Don't you make it?
That's actually really
We have
cute.
to make it now.
I think so.
You have to make
We
all
have
of
to
them.
make one. Yeah.
Okay, let's
Oh, look
make
at
one,
that
make one.
summer cilantro pasta salad, your favorite. Anyways, guys, that's next month's book. It's a totally new genre for us all. Well, not you, for you two. But
Cheesy mystery?
cheesy romance bakery mystery novels.
Exciting.
So good. You can read this so easily. But
Nice.
Excited. But yeah, make sure to tune in next month to check this out. Hope you enjoyed this month. Leave your comments what you think of Ugly Love, and give us some recommendations for the future. We have a couple of months left to go. 1 or 2 more picks each, so we need to know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, thanks for coming along. We'll see you next month. And with that,
Base out.